guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Sunday, October 23rd, the day after Boston's doubleheader against the Heat and the Magic. I started off the first take by saying From the Rafters, which is no longer the name of the show, but a little throwback for those of you who've been listening for a while. And I want to start off non-Celtics because we did this a few times and it's actually really fun. We talked about jelly donuts a while ago. I just need to ask you, are you a coffee drinker? I forget. Do you drink coffee or are you not a coffee guy?
So, yeah. Well, when I was working at 4 a.m, I really had to. So that's when I started. And I always get iced coffee. I can't do the hot coffee.
Okay.
If I'm going to drink something, I have to be able to drink it. Right. It's not a process for me. I eat fast. I drink fast. I do all of it fast. I don't really spend a lot of time doing it. So It's always been iced coffee for me. I don't do it as consistently. I got one today just because I was a little tired. Still am. But I don't know. I don't think I'm like an avid coffee drinker anymore. Not obsessively. I'm not doing it unless I think I need the energy.
That's fair. I drink it, I guess, close to every day, not because I use it for the energy, just because I like it, and it's just a nice way to start your day. I do like hot coffee, though. I'm a big hot coffee guy, so we're getting to that season, although I do have an iced one in front of me today that I demolished before we jumped on here.
Where'd you get that from?
Dunkin'. You can only get it. Like, getting coffee elsewhere isn't the same. Like, you can get, like, fun drinks from...
wrong.
Were you Starbucks guy?
Well, no, but I like this local place near me where it's right next to the gym.
Local's fine.
And I'll leave the gym and I'll get it and I'll get a sandwich. It's a nice start to my days when I'm not like running into work. I only drink Dunkin'. Actually, I don't drink Dunkin' right now because I don't get coffees on days I go to Dunkin' right now.
Interesting. See,
so I've only been drinking at this place, Coffee Grinders, which is fantastic.
Local's fine. I was more referring to the Starbucks versus Dunkin' thing.
Like McDonald's, not bad. Had McDonald's coffee.
Yeah, sure. I guess it's just because of where I live. Like, there's 4 Dunkins in my town. Like, that's not really like it's just easy.
There are. Let's see. There are so many There's 2 Dunkins. So there's like a split, not a split, but like basically 2 different directions I can go to get to the highway. And on each way, before you even get like a mile down the road, there's a Dunkin'.
Yeah.
And then there's a road between the 2 directions that connects, and the Dunkins are on that same road.
Of course, that's how it is. But I was gonna ask you, they have this new peanut butter cup coffee at Dunkin' now. I don't know if you're a big like Reese's guy or whatever, but it's very good.
Reese's is the best candy. I also had somebody try and tell me it was not pronounced Reese's; it was pronounced Reese's.
It technically is, but I don't.
Nobody says it like that.
I agree, but yeah, peanut butter cup coffee. It's like a macchiato is what it's called, but you can get like just original coffee with the peanut butter cup flavor. Fire, very good. Highly recommend if you're into that type.
I may have to try it.
Very good. I enjoy it. I get it just with like. I order it just with the swirl. Like, I get the flavoring peanut butter cup, and then I get milk too, just to add to it. But I've had to wean myself off sugar because my mom, when I was younger, she orders her coffee 7 milk, 7 sugar, which is just like, it's not coffee at that point.
It's a milkshake.
Yeah, exactly. So I've had to, but like, that's how I grew up knowing coffee. So I had to like wean myself off of the sugar a little bit. And I've gotten to the point where I can I just do like milk and sugar. Sometimes I do like, if I'm feeling the sweet tooth, I go extra sugar, but that's rough. So I've tried to just get like the sweetener and then like milk, because the sweetener take care of the sugar part for you. But I've had to wean myself off of it as I've grown older, because it's definitely not good. It's definitely not good to drink that much sugar in a single coffee. But we can cut the Dunkin' talk and get to the Celtics, because I know that's why all of you are here. Celtics won back-to-back games in Florida on the road. Heat and the Magic after a big win on opening night against the 76ers. And yeah, they look good in both. Looked less good in the Magic game, and I guess we can let's start with the Heat game though. Let's go in chronological order. What did you and didn't you like from that Heat game?
So I really enjoyed a lot of things from the Heat game. It was a good showing for the most part for the Celtics. You had Tatum and Brown again playing well, specifically Brown super efficient in that game, leading the charge. Tatum giving him a nice secondary punch there, I guess. I mean, Brown 29, Tatum 28, or vice versa. I don't remember. They're both scoring well. That's what matters. Yes. Also in that game, Noah Vonleh was solid in a second
Oh, yeah.
consecutive game after playing decently against Embiid and Philly, or against Philly. And he continued it, hustling on the glass, getting a couple dunks there, nice and easy for him to get going. Liked that when Miami went on a nice run in the third quarter to get the lead after Boston had really been in control most of the game. They didn't panic. That last season, the Celtics would have probably lost that game. Once they gave up the lead, they would have never got their footing back. This year, in this instance, they responded. Finished the quarter with a bigger lead than they came into it with, up 12 at the end of the third instead of being, I think it was 8 at half.
Yeah,
and they really never looked back. So they are a much more controlling team from what we've seen so far. Very encouraging things to start the season. You played two teams that people are considering to be contenders in this conference, and you beat them both pretty handily. You were in control of both the games for the majority of the game. It's funny that, we'll talk about the Orlando game a little bit later, but that was a really scary game out of the three.
Exactly.
Which is classic. Classic Celtics. What'd you think?
Yeah, no, I like the Heat game. I thought it was good. Obviously, you got that little scare at the start of the third quarter. That was the only real time the Celtics kind of felt in danger in that game. And like you said, they responded well by the end of the third. I don't think they trailed in the fourth quarter. Miami made a couple runs, but they didn't trail. Kyle Lowry was as annoying as ever. I know you don't like him. I'm a fan still. He's annoying, and I appreciate those players as much as they frustrate me. Bam Adebayo looked good early on, kind of slowed down later in the game once he got into foul trouble. Tyler Hero carried the Heat offense. Not to make this a Heat show, but I struggle to see how the Heat are going to find offense this year without Hero on the floor, right? Like you can tell he is their only source of on-ball creation. He's their only source of offense, really. Jimmy Butler was very quiet. He had 18 points, but even you and I discussed it at the pregame show the next day. I forgot he played. He didn't do anything.
Yeah, well, you're so used to seeing him in the playoffs where, what did he have, like 50 points almost in the game 6?
30, 40, 50. He's dropping everything, yeah.
Like, he was the whole offense, and it's crazy how different he plays when it's not the playoffs.
Yeah,
he's not as aggressive. He's not doing everything. Like, that's a whole different experience compared to what we saw in the spring. I mean, thank goodness. Glad they got the win. Glad they won the series back in the spring. Doesn't matter who it is. I don't care. Just beat him. Beat him.
Jimmy's a beast.
They did.
Jimmy's your type of player. He shows up when it matters. I mean, probably need to show up in the regular season too, but regardless,
that's why people don't respect him as much, because they forget.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, like this guy, he was like good in the bubble, whatever. He's whatever now. Like, was fine this season.
He shows up in the playoffs,
and then he shows up in the playoffs, and everyone remembers. And then the season will go along, and then everyone will be like, oh, maybe he's washed now, and then he'll show up again.
Yep. And I don't doubt that he'll do that again. We can talk about the current, in my opinion, I guess. I don't really know if there's an argument to it, front runner for MVP after 3 games in the season, but slow start Jayson Tatum is not really happening right now. Like there's no slow start. He's been absolutely on fire. I need to check his shooting splits. I don't even think he's shooting that well from 3, which is the crazy part. He's not shooting like efficiently. I'll check my math on that, but he's shooting just 33.3% from distance on the season this year. But he's shooting almost 59% from the field. He is not missing 2-point shots, which is something we did not see from him last year. He is aggressive. He's getting to the floater. He's getting to the bucket. He's still attempting 8 threes a game, which is a lot. But the difference is he's not missing the bunnies anymore. So he's still an elite player. He's averaging almost 35 points through a couple games, averaging 8 rebounds, 3 assists. He's playing great basketball. And he's playing elite defense too, which the Celtics struggled with against the Magic, but we'll get to that later. Jayson Tatum has been everything a Celtics fan should want from him. He's been phenomenal through these few games.
Yeah, he was excellent against Orlando. Obviously, he had 40 points, and he really got them to the finish line, I guess.
Yeah.
He was the only source of offense early in that game. And again, you're right. He hasn't been super efficient shooting the 3, but it's so refreshing to see him getting to the basket. Still not using the left hand, by the way, but finishing at the rim.
I was looking for that against Orlando because
and you saw it.
Yeah. I might steal it
sticks out like a sore thumb. Once you realize it, you can't unsee it. He is completely avoiding using his left hand. I don't know why. Tim brought up a good point to us on the pregame show that is the wrist that he hurt in the playoffs where he had a bone chip moving around in there where it hurts.
I think I'm gonna steal that from my article. I'm gonna steal your thought process there. I'm gonna yoink it.
Well, it's not even mine. It's Tim.
No, I meant the left hand thing. I'm gonna write about how JB and JT have been driving to the rim really well.
It's just
I'm gonna
weird.
steal that.
It's so
It is
weird. But you started off saying he's the front runner for MVP right now, and you're right. And I told everybody. I said before the season starts, the odds are in your favor to bet him because he's primed for it. He would have been the MVP last year if he put it together for the first half of the season. He certainly was the best player for the second half of the season. Everybody was talking about it. He went into the playoffs and was dominant until he really fell off in the finals, maybe.
He did.
That's it. That was the only time he really wasn't at the top level and really wasn't maybe the best player in the league was the finals, which sucked.
Yeah.
But going into the season, he was in a prime position for it, and the odds makers didn't believe it. It was plus 1,400 before the season started. I don't know what it is right this second, but he has sprinted out of the gates. Excellent. Already has a 40-point game, had 35 in the opener, was fine in Miami. He just did what he needed to do. He wasn't anything over the top, but he was still great. He's been more efficient this season.
Vegas odds, sorry. They got him at plus 1,200 still, so you can still get a pretty good deal.
Plus 1,200 right now. It was you're missing out on a couple hundred, but he is just so much more efficient. That to me was the biggest knock on him is that it always feels like he's taking a ton of shots. Always feels like he's taking a ton of shots. Now he's making the shots. You're seeing that average go up. You said he's already at 35 a game almost. It's going to go down. You would imagine throughout the season he's not going to be as hot.
Imagine if it doesn't.
Then good for him. He'll have the trophy. You'll get to see him get the trophy at the Garden in the playoffs.
It's crazy. He's playing phenomenally well. Really no complaints about Jayson Tatum thus far. JB, on the other hand, slowed down a bit against Orlando. He did some other things too. He realized the shot wasn't there. He grabbed 9 rebounds, dished out 4 assists. He made an impact elsewhere, but the shot wasn't there for him against Orlando. And from what I remember, he realized that early. He took only 16 shots, and I don't remember him taking a ton late in the game. I can fact check myself there. Yeah, he only took 1 shot in the fourth quarter. So it seemed like he kind of realized he didn't have it. And then he slowed down and let Tatum take over, which is good. That's what you want from him. But I'm not worried about Jaylen. People have off games. You're not going to have like ridiculously highly efficient scoring nights every night. So just an off game for him against Orlando. I don't really have anything else to say about it. It's just
it was weird though. He was missing layups.
Yeah, he maybe had the jitters for some whatever reason.
Yeah, well, you go down to Orlando and you play in such a historic place, you get a little bit nervous. You know, that's
come on.
Some
man.
Greats have truly graced their Walmart brand parquet down there, and
I like the court. I don't mind the court.
No, it's fine, but I mean, it's nowhere special. You know,
Shaq and Penny. Come on.
Well, there
Dwight
you go.
Howard.
That's all you got. You named all 3 of them.
Come on. More positive note though, Derek White was absolutely phenomenal against the Magic. I believe he finished with 27 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. He shot 10 of 17 from the field, 5 of 9 from 3-point range. I know the drives at the end of the game, the clutch shots in the fourth, the clutch plays, that was all great. Derek White emerging as a knockdown 3-point shooter is everything this Celtics team needs. He is an elite perimeter defender. He can play make. He can get to the rim. We knew all that. He did all of that last season. He was getting to the rack all playoffs long last year, getting to the floater, getting inside, everything. Him being able to knock down 5 threes in a game and knock down threes consistently completely changes the way the Celtics play offense. It is exactly what you need. And he's not hesitating either. He's catching the ball and going right up into his shot. Derek White looks great to start the season. And that game against Orlando was just a culmination of everything.
Well, it sounds like this is what they expect from him. Everybody after the game was going into detail saying how Saturday's game, the way Derek White played is what they'd been seeing in practice. He'd been aggressive. He'd been making his threes. And we didn't really see that a whole lot throughout the preseason. There are other things that we've seen this season that have translated. That was not one of them. We didn't see massive Derek White jump coming. And who knows if it is going to be a consistent thing. But if everybody's saying this is how he plays all the time, there has to be some weight to it. So even if you're getting, I don't know, 60% of what you got yesterday, that's still found money to me. Derek White last year was finding his footing. He was fine. He wasn't somebody that was hurting you per se, but there was a lot left to be desired when it comes to consistency, specifically shooting the ball. Like you said, if he's making 5 threes for you, excellent. And not to mention, he made not just 5 threes, the first 5 threes he took. He was 5 for 5. He wasn't missing.
Yeah.
And he was getting to the cup. He's making floaters, which we've seen him do consistently since he joined the team. He did it all yesterday. You kind of nailed it on the head. And it was a game where he kind of had to. Brogdon was fine. Smart was kind of off yesterday. You need at least one of those guys to have a good game, I'd say. Going forward, I think that's part of your winning formula. You have 3 guys that play very similar. You need one of them to hit and play well.
I agree. Derek White was great, and I expect him to continue to be great. Jayson Tatum, after the game, said that he wishes Derek White would be selfish more often, which is an all-time quote from the team star who dropped 40. You love to see that. Jayson Tatum quietly has been saying all the right things this season. He seems more vocal, and he talked about it. He talked about it during a press conference. I can't remember the exact one or like timeline, but he said something along the lines of, "I heard you guys telling me that." I heard the narrative that I was too quiet and didn't lead with my words enough, so I'm actively trying to do that more, which is good. It's what you want to see from Tatum. But also another funny quote to come out of last night. I don't know if you heard this. Remember in the Miami game when Joe Mazzulla wasn't using his timeouts? Like he just wouldn't call one. After the game against Orlando, he goes, "I called a timeout before 3 minutes, so I didn't use it since, you guys like to tell me I don't use timeouts. I probably had a bunch of them." He just like mocked all the reporters in the room for saying he doesn't use timeouts. Joe Mazzulla has been, I mean, call me crazy here. Obviously, Ime Udoka was great for this team. The way Joe Mazzulla carries himself is a bit of like a breath of fresh air, if that makes sense. It's not, it's the perfect mix of Brad and Ime, in my opinion. Like Brad was kind of quiet and reserved. He didn't really say much. Ime Udoka said everything. Mazzulla's kind of in the middle and he like cracks the jokes. Like he's just like, I don't know. I really like Joe, and obviously all is good right now because the Celtics are 3-0, so it's tough to say something bad about him. But even before that, in the preseason, he was saying all the right things. Like he seems like, I'm very happy that Joe is the guy they chose for the job. I'll put it that way.
All right, that's fair. See, I'm going to kind of not disagree, but say it's too soon for me to tell what I think.
Sure,
yet.
no, yeah, that's fair.
Not that you're saying that, but I know last season a lot of people were calling for Udoka's head because the team was poor for the first 39 games. I think it was that they were 18-21, whatever it was, and then they turned it around. He's the hero. So sometimes things take time. Sure. Usually those are good things that take time, but you don't know. This could be lightning in a bottle. You can't imagine it is because the team itself is constructed in a way where they should be successful. They have 2 absolute studs running things. You have Marcus as a good leader on the team. Al Horford's a good leader. Al Horford, who did not play against Orlando, already on the load management for back-to-backs. Fine with that. But all these pieces around those guys are going to help win. Everybody. All the way down to guys that aren't going to play every day. Hauser barely played against Philly. He was awesome against Orlando.
Hit
this
3
team
threes.
is well constructed. So if Mazzulla is saying all the right things, that is a big part of it. It's important that he's doing that. It's a good point by you, because if he's not, there's more of a chance that things get disrupted. If you have things going well, it ain't broke, don't fix it. You don't need to be out there barking at the press saying this guy needs to do this guy needs to do that. He could have went out and said Jaylen could have been better yesterday. He could have went out and ripped the team for allowing Orlando to score 120 points. It didn't happen. It's not happening to where guys are just getting called out. I mean, I never heard a problem with Udoka doing it. It worked. And I was watching the game with a friend yesterday, and I was like, oh, wouldn't it be great if Udoka was coaching and he'd just like call a timeout and tell him to knock it off and then they'd play better?
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of differences. I want to ask you this, though. If Mazzulla leads the Celtics, let's even say to the finals again, or Eastern Conference Finals, or on a deep run, they're like a great regular season team, or hell, like even if they win the finals, does Udoka come back? Or is it Mazzulla's team? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
I feel like we
don't know enough.
Okay, yeah.
That's the answer. We don't know enough. Who knows why they're keeping Udoka around? A lot of speculation is that they don't want to have to cut him loose and risk him going to a rival. Could be very true. Could be that they owe him so much money they don't want to just like pay him all of it or whatever. I
That's
don't know
possible.
what any of it is. We don't know.
Yeah.
So without knowing those things, it's really hard to say what the team's going to do. If
Yep.
if Missoula is successful, however, say the team wins a championship, it would be very difficult to remove the guy that was the coach of a championship team
Mhm.
and bring back Ime Udoka, because that would give so many extra distractions from the media, because it's a story. It's a massive story. It was a big news
100%.
story when it came out. It wasn't just sports. Everybody was talking about it. So now if you're successful and you bring that back into your fold, you're risking messing with your product. I don't
100%.
know what the plan is. I don't really have an opinion on the plan yet, because there are plenty of things that could happen in the coming 6-7 months
Yep.
until the season has come to an end. We don't know yet. It's a good thing to think about, but it'll be a real discussion, and we'll perhaps have things to talk about in the summer next year. Fantastic,
Unfortunately,
right?
not the things we want to be talking about.
Who
Uh,
knows? If it's a big controversy, it could be a good thing. It means they might have won.
it's true.
If it's a no-brainer and you're saying bring them back, that means it didn't go very well.
I agree. Circling back, you mentioned Marcus Smart didn't play very well. He didn't. He looked bad against Orlando. Objectively, didn't play well. He had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 8 points, but he shot. Sorry, that's the Miami game. Excuse me. He had 6 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists. So he did pass the ball well, but shot 2 of 11 from the field, 1 of 9 from 3. Did not shoot it well. I'll push back a little bit on the Marcus Smart slander, just because I still believe if you get an open 3, you can't just not take it like that. You can't do that. You can't not take an open 3. Sometimes you can, like if he's shooting really bad, maybe you swing it, you find a better shot. But for the most part, it would ruin the flow of the offense to not take an open 3, because then they could just not guard him. You got to take open 3s when they come to you within the flow of the offense. Were all of Marcus's shots open 3s? I would have to watch the film again. I don't think they all were. I think a couple were probably a little forced, but I didn't have a problem with most of his shots. It just wasn't falling.
I'll say this. Marcus took 5 threes before the first time out. So for the rest of the game, he only took 4. I'd say that's a glaring good for him.
Sure. Yeah.
Recognizing and reading that maybe it's not his night.
Mhm.
Because
No, I agree.
he doesn't have to take all those threes.
Yeah.
He was taking threes early. I thought the offense early in that game was good, despite them not pulling away until the end, and still it was close, pretty much the whole
Close.
way.
Mhm.
But the shots they were getting were good. It didn't feel like there was a lot of forcing going on. So even if he is taking 9 threes in a game like yesterday, sure, it doesn't look good in the box score, but how many times did you really watch the game and you saw it and you were like, why is he doing that?
Exactly.
Maybe one. I think there's
Mhm.
one where he just kind of pulled up. And even then, it was like he stepped into a 3. Like those are usually the ones
Mhm.
that are easy to hit and to get a little bit of a rhythm. I'm always going to be the biggest Marcus supporter. It's just how it is. I'm biased. But seriously,
Mhm.
if you're off and you've taken 5 threes within, like, let's just say 5 minutes of the opening tip, and then for the rest of the game, you've recognized you're off and you only take 4 more, great. And that's also
Yeah.
on the coach, because or whoever's calling the plays, I'd imagine it's Missoula,
Mhm.
because the plays that were getting Marcus the open looks early stopped getting him the open looks, or he was making the
Yeah.
extra pass, which he did a couple times. There was one where he had it, swung it to White, who swung it to Brown, who made a 3. The ball movement yesterday, I thought, was really great. It's just
I
tough.
agree.
Guys kind of missed shots, except Tatum and White
Mhm.
and Grant and Hauser.
Yeah. We'll talk about those guys too, but on the Smart thing, um, you were correct. He took 5 threes in the first quarter, up until the 4-minute, 33-second mark. He took 1 in the second quarter. He took one of his threes was a buzzer beater at the end of the
That's
half
right.
as well. So that counts in the box score too. And then he took 2 threes in the third, 9 minutes and 8:30. And then he didn't take any of the rest of the game. So he realized it by the time it mattered, just like Jaylen did. He didn't take him in the latter stages.
That kind of goes
you call
more
it.
into what I was saying. So that's even better.
Mhm.
I forgot that he had a heave. He absolutely did. We
Exactly.
thought it was
Yeah.
going in where I was watching the game.
Yeah.
Looked good.
Yeah. It did. It did. But yeah, so I'm fine with Smart. 8 assists too, so he's doing that. He's doing other things on the court.
How many assists is he averaging so far?
Let's take a look. Do you want to guess?
I haven't been diving into the box
quick
scores
guess.
as much. I'd say 7-ish.
6. Close. 6 assists.
Right.
Leading the team, though.
Good for him.
I believe. Pretty clearly, but also because Brogdon's at 3.7. Rebound leader is Tatum, in case you're wondering, through 3 games, 8.3. Jaylen Brown is second, 5.3. You love to see it. Points is obviously Tatum. Turnovers, beautiful thing. Tatum only averaging 2 turnovers. That's gorgeous. That, like, chef's kiss.
Is that
there.
the most?
No, the most is Jaylen, who's averaging 3, which is still not great, but 3 games, not the end of the world. Steals is Jaylen Brown at 1.7, and blocks is actually Jayson Tatum at 1.7. Playing some good defense there. But circling back around, because I'll read you the field goal percentage and 3-point percentage. Outside of Peyton Pritchard, who's shooting 100% because he's taken 1 3 in 1 appearance and made it, Grant Williams is absolutely on fire to start the season. And he was a little bit last year, but the difference is those weren't translating into wins. Now Grant Williams is translating into wins. Grant Williams, through 3 games, is shooting 86% from the field and 80% from 3. He's the Celtics' 4th leading scorer at 12.7 points a night. He is locked in. He is not missing. He is nailing all of his threes. He is driving what I'm forgetting pressures.
Driving the
whatever they're
closeout.
called. Thank you. Driving the closeout. I couldn't think of the word for it. Driving the closeout at an elite level. He's getting into the paint, hitting his layups, some fancy layups too. And he had a nice assist last night off the closeout. He's passing now. Grant Williams is doing everything you wanted him to do when people were begging for a contract extension, and he's in a contract year now. So this is gonna equal dollar signs for him. He's playing amazing, doing everything the Celtics could possibly ask for from him.
I'll tell you what, he made dollar signs for me yesterday, and anyone that was had the common sense to follow my pick in the stream. I said
Always a safe bet.
Over 1.5 threes for Grant, the way he's been shooting at plus money. Thank you.
Elite bet.
Easy. Hit it in the first quarter. Hit it in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Tatum double-double did not hit, but the over 7.5 rebounds did for him, as did the Mobley points. So we were 2 of 3 on the Smash the Odds picks yesterday. Just
Love
for anybody that watches the pregame.
Shout out.
You're welcome. But yeah, we got the first little taste of Grant in the preseason. I keep talking about it, but like it really opened my eyes. I saw him fake a 3 and drive, and we really hadn't seen him do that before that. And now he's doing it a lot. And it's adding to the game. It's making it harder for defenders to fly out at him because they have to think now. He could have a big season. If he keeps this up to some degree, he could average at least 10 points a game for sure off the bench. That'd be great for him. It would be good for his contract too. It's a shame that they didn't pay him. Because now if you're the Celtics, you're like, oh boy, I hope he slows down a bit.
Exactly. I remember a couple of years ago after his rookie season, I was always really high on Grant, by the way. Sam can vouch. I've always been a Grant guy. We've almost been doing this podcast for 3 years, and ever since the Celtics drafted him, I've been a fan. But Grant Williams, I remember, and you can vouch again. I forget if it was heading into his 2nd or 3rd year. I said Grant Williams was going to average 10, 5, and 3. Those were the numbers I placed on him as an elite bench guy. And so far this season, in obviously limited sample size, he's averaging roughly 13, 5, and 2. So I'm going to say that's pretty close for me. Just 2 years later, so we're a little off.
Too late.
Grant Williams playing very, very well. And Sam Hauser deserves a big-time shout-out, too, because he nailed 3 of 4 threes last night, I believe. 3 of 4 threes after a 2 of 3 game against Miami. Not getting a ton of playing time. 12 minutes against the Heat, 6 minutes against the Magic. But like we said before the season, he's going to hit his threes. Like, he doesn't have to get a ton of playing time to get threes within the offense because Brogdon will find him, Smart will find him, Tatum will find him. Grant found him, I think, once last night. Like, he's going to get open because he moves off the ball well. So even in 6 minutes, he nailed 3 of 4 threes. He had 9 points in 6 minutes. He is a flamethrower when he's in the game. And I mean, he's been great so far in limited minutes.
Yeah, 9 points in 6 minutes against Orlando is pretty good. And they kind of needed it because Orlando just kind of wasn't missing yesterday at all. Franz Wagner was excellent. He was killing the Celtics, hitting everything they gave him. It felt like
Yep.
Hauser comes in the game, hits 3 threes, and calls it a day. The arc on his shot is crazy. He shot
Dude, it's
over
insane.
Bol yesterday, who was not that far from him when he shot. We
Yeah.
saw Bol block Brogdon, I think, twice on jumpers, and he was far away.
Yeah,
So good for
Brogdon's
Hauser,
shot's
man.
weird. Brogdon's shot is very weird. It's like the opposite of Hauser. It's a line drive.
Yeah, Hauser, rainbows from Hauser.
Oh, yeah.
And
Beautiful.
they believe in him. So that's
They
even
do.
better for him because he's going to see more looks where he can convert. They're not hesitant to give him the ball at all. They believe in the guy. They see him shoot in the gym all the time, and they know he doesn't miss.
You know what's unfortunate? And I think this is what's happening. You know how in Miami last year, Max Strus stole Duncan's rotational minutes because he's just a little bit better defender. He kind of fits their minutes better. You know where I'm going with this?
Pritchard.
I think Hauser is taking Pritchard's rotation spot just because he's bigger. Pritchard's a good defender, underrated, but Sam Hauser probably fits the defensive scheme a little bit better because they like to play with a little bit more size, especially when they don't have a bunch. They don't really have a ton of size in the lineup. And he's a knockdown shooter, and he's probably harder for guys to defend because he shoots it so high. I think Hauser is taking Pritchard's rotational minutes this year, and there's not really an argument against it because Pritchard's played once for 3 minutes. He hit his 3, but I think Hauser's taking a spot in the lineup.
Yeah, it's too bad because I like Pritchard as a player. I think he's really good in a bench scoring role because he can create for himself. Last season, the playoffs, especially against the Nets, you saw him play really well. He had a great game too, was a big part of the comeback, 10 points in the fourth quarter. He's just not going to get those opportunities. It's somewhat Hauser, but it's also somewhat the addition of Brogdon, where with the guard depth Boston has, it might be the best in the league. And as a guard, Pritchard is just getting the short end of the stick with that. And also, like you said, Hauser being able to shoot the lights out doesn't help his case because that's part of what he brought to the table was his shooting, his reliability from beyond the arc. Now we're seeing Hauser step into that role and play well. Good for him, good for the team. Sucks for Pritchard. And I know we talked about this last time.
It does.
They might have to wait till next year to trade Pritchard because his salary will be more. It'll be easier for teams to match and get value back. Mm-hmm. But for his career, you have to root for a trade that gets him somewhere where he can be useful. He's a good player and he has a future in the league. He's not a bum.
I agree. I saw a trade proposal. It's not sexy at all. It's not like a big name guy, so Celtics fans might not like it. I think it was Pritchard and a second-round pick to Oklahoma City for Kenrich Williams, which seems really exactly. They call him Kenny Hustle. It seems really rough because everyone knows Pritchard. Everyone loves Pritchard in Boston, and Kenrich Williams isn't really a big name. I don't hate it. He's another wing you can throw out there, which the Celtics don't really have. He's 6'6". He rebounds the ball really well. He earned the nickname Kenny Hustle, so I think Celtics fans would probably fall in love with him pretty quick. I don't know how possible it is because I'm pretty sure OKC declined a first-round pick for him, like in past years. Like they like the guy, and for OKC to decline a first-round pick, they probably really like the player. But I wouldn't hate that bringing Kenny Hustle to Boston. I also wouldn't hate. Actually, never mind. That wouldn't work. I was gonna tie in Terrence Ross into it because he torched the
classic.
Celtics.
And Gorman called it. Gorman
right?
said it right when they were doing the starting lineups. He's like, Terrence Ross always has a big night against the Celtics. Can't seem to miss. He has 8 points before the first TV timeout. Finishes with almost 30.
Yeah, what do you have? 29 on the night? Let me check.
Unreal how someone can just be that consistent against a single team.
Yeah, 29 points. He's crazy good, dude. Maybe
the whole team felt like they weren't missing.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Yesterday's game, Jack, more of Celtics being bad or Orlando being good? What do you think?
A healthy mix. And we can talk about the defense, but through the first 2 games, Orlando shot 22% from 3, and then they shot 44% against the Celtics. Yes, the Celtics defense was bad. I thought it was off, but like they're not going to make that many threes every night.
Do you think that's not having Horford? Do you think that had a big
no
impact on them?
I think that hurt the rebounding battle because Celtics got stomped in the rebounding battle. What was it? 48-37, and they lost offensive rebounds 12-7. So that was probably Horford a little bit. But I think the defense was them just not hitting their rotations, just not them pressuring enough. Mazzulla talked about it after the game. He said the rotations were fine, but they weren't pressuring enough and they weren't hitting their switch points or something like that fast enough. And I think that showed because the Magic got into open space a lot. They got open threes. They were able to get good looks, and they attacked the mid-range too a lot because you had Vonleh and you had Cornette and you had Blake Griffin playing drop a lot, drop coverage. So Terrence Ross would just step right in, take an easy midi. Same thing with Franz Wagner, which I think you'll have to fix when Rob and Al come back. But for now, you kind of have to live with those shots. And I don't think Orlando will make 90% of their mid shots or whatever again every game. So it is what it is. I think the Celtics defense has to be a lot better, especially with how much talent they have on the perimeter. But at the same time, like you said, Orlando's not going to make that many shots every single night.
Yeah, somebody that was watching for Tatum to get rebounds, it grew really annoying when Orlando was like not going to miss. Because that's money,
Exactly.
man. I'm waiting for him to get a double-double, and they're just not missing. Everything. Bottom of the net for Wagner. Ross wasn't missing. Okiki off the bench wasn't missing. Like, these guys were just on fire. 44% from three, like you said. Unreal. Classic. After being 22% through 2 games, you bet your ass that they are going to shoot against the Celtics. It's just how it goes. Tell you what, Celtics were ready. Tatum brought his own shooters. Him, Derek White, Grant, Hauser. Shootout at the Amway, if that's what it's still called. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
the legendary
Amway,
place.
Right.
You get the Yips playing there if you're Jaylen Brown.
Clearly. No, yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good performance from all 3-point shooters. And like I said, Orlando just really didn't miss. They were great against the Celtics, which was rough. Paolo Banchero, though, he's nice, dude. He's a really good player.
Good for Orlando. It's about time they got some help down there. The team has just been in the dumpster for years and years since Dwight Howard left. They really never did it. They made the playoffs a couple of times. Took one off the Raptors, I think the Kawhi year when they won.
Yeah,
and then they lost in 5.
You remember that shot? DJ Augustine pulling up from the top of the key.
Made a 3.
Beautiful. That was fun. They've looked they look good against the Celtics. Paolo Banchero was great. Cole Anthony was solid. Franz Wagner looked great. Wagner and Banchero is like very, very good.
Well, imagine if they tank again this year, which they probably will. Not so much for their team not being talented, because we saw yesterday they do have pieces on that team that are decent. Just everybody else, every team feels like it's stacked right now.
Yeah.
I was talking to a buddy last night. We were watching the games and stuff. Like, I was saying Sacramento.
They look good.
They put their chips in at the wrong time.
They did.
Because we did our predictions, Jack. We didn't even have them in the play-in.
I know. And the crazy part about that is they could have been bad this year. They could have traded De'Aaron Fox like to whatever team wanted him for like draft picks and done like a Donovan Mitchell thing. Kept Davion Mitchell and Tyrese Halliburton, trading all their pieces, gone for Wembanyama this year. And they could have had effectively what the Pacers have right now, but they chose not to. I respect them for going for it because it's been 16 years, and after a while, you got to just send it. But this year was the bad. It wasn't a good year to do it. Unfortunate timing. Yeah,
I hope Victor ends up in the Western Conference. I'll say that. I'm sick of all these guys. I mean, Paolo looks like he's going to be a good player. Donovan Mitchell joining the conference. Cade, that Pistons team's a real pain in the ass despite the 1 and 2 start. Halliburton's now in the conference.
Yeah,
but enough is enough.
Orlando, Kevon Harris. I know Tatum had 40, but he was an annoyance. He was just annoying to watch on Tatum. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, he was. Shout out him. He's a rookie this year. Came over from, I forget where he played last year, but he's like 25, 26. Like, he's an older guy, but he looked solid, and it looks like Orlando likes him. So I just wanted to give him a little bit of a shout out. Also, Celtics play the Bulls next. The Bulls fumbled the bag on the Nikola Vucevic trade. I watched a TikTok on it. That was such a terrible trade in hindsight, because you know what came out of that?
Wendell Carter.
Wendell Carter. Yep, who looked good.
Who might be better than Vucevic.
There's that.
Yeah.
The Franz Wagner pick was the Bulls pick.
Ooh.
And then they own the Bulls pick this year too.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes, because I don't think the Bulls are that good of a team, but you never know.
I don't either.
They don't impress me. And we'll see Monday, and then you'll see them again the Friday after next at the Garden.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I'm not like floored by them at all.
Me neither.
I think the Celtics should win Monday. At this point, I don't know when the next time I think they should lose is, especially after starting 3-0. Good for them. Good on them, right?
Schedule.
Yeah, we'll see. That game in Chicago Monday might be something. I'd imagine Levine will play after being out sporadically here with left knee management to start the season. Usually you start managing injuries once the season goes on. Usually you don't start like that.
Except if you're Kawhi.
Yeah, Kawhi too.
Bulls injury report. Let me look at this. Bulls injury report.
Lonzo out still.
Lonzo's out.
Brutal.
Yeah, Levine's off the injury report. I think he played the other night against Washington. So
I'll tell you what, that Bulls pick this year would be less valuable if Lonzo was healthy, because they were good when Lonzo was playing. He was the key for them.
they were good. They were real good when Lonzo was healthy. But Celtics schedule, they've got Chicago, Cleveland at home, Washington at home, Cleveland on the road, Chicago at home, New York at Madison Square Garden, Memphis, Detroit, Denver. They've got a doable schedule. I'll put it that way. I think Cleveland could cause some issues, especially in Cleveland because they're pretty good. I think Memphis will be tough. No, they play them twice. They play them October 28th at home, then November 2nd in Cleveland.
Oh, quick ones.
Yep, they got November 5th at MSG. I don't think the Knicks are very good, but I know you don't love MSG, but at least the fans are active. You know what I'm saying? At least it's better. It's a more active environment than Miami the other night.
Miami, what a joke that is.
Let's go Celtics chance, man. But in both Florida arenas.
Well, that always seems to happen. That's a touristy thing, and people go down there, or old people move to Florida from here. Like there's all kinds of explanation for that.
They've got Denver at home on the 11th of November, which I think will be tough. They have shout out. They've got Atlanta in Atlanta on the 16th, who always seem to give them trouble. But I think
that's a team that's hot.
I think their first really, really big test of the season, in my opinion, and maybe this is far out because there are good teams like Memphis. No, November 18th in New Orleans. I think the Pelicans are the real deal. The Pelicans are really good this year. I think
they play today.
Let me check.
Probably 6 p.m. Yeah, they play somebody today. It's them and another team that's undefeated.
Pelicans. Yeah, it's Utah.
Yeah. There you go.
How funny is that, man? Utah looks good, dude. They need to trade some pieces if they actually want to tank. They look
good for them.
Yeah, shout out. A lot of good games tonight, actually. Portland, LA. If you're a Lakers hater, you can root against the Lakers. Charlotte, Atlanta, maybe not as fun. Washington, Cleveland. I like Washington. I told you they were my 10th seed, and they've looked good so far. Utah, New Orleans is fun. Minnesota, OKC. Sacramento, Golden State, Phoenix, LA, Clippers, I should say. But yeah, Lakers not doing well. I was telling Sam before we got on, I give them a bit of a pass because they played two good teams. We'll see if they can get it done against Portland. But Philly is in shambles. They're in shambles right now, man. They've lost 3 games.
I didn't obviously watch yesterday because the Celtics were on.
I didn't either.
Not that I would have watched anyway. But what's going on? Why are you losing to the Spurs, dude?
You can't lose. I mean, the Celtics lost to the Spurs twice last year, so it is what it is. But
it's different now. The Spurs are really trying to lose. Victor's in the draft.
It's because James Harden dropped a dud. 12 points, 4 of 18, 1 of 6.
Oh, good. He's the worst.
I mean, he dished out 12 assists and had 9 boards, so he did other things. But Embiid dropped a 40 piece, and they still lost. That is tough. Josh Richardson doing God's work, dropping 11 points. Thank you, my man.
Good for him.
Yeah. Keldon Johnson, though, had 21. Good game from him. Yeah.
At Philadelphia, too.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were thrilled.
That is brutal. Who they lose to? The
Phillies are sweeping them under the rug.
They lost to Celtics. They lost to
Milwaukee. In a close game.
Fair enough. Was that at home? Was that in Philly as well?
In Philly. Brutal. Close game. Harden missed a winner or game-tying shot. It was something at the buzzer that would have made them not lose right away.
We'll give him a pass. We'll give him a pass on that one.
Give him a pass?
Against Milwaukee.
What are you giving out passes for?
I'm just saying I'm not going to complain that they lost to the Bucks on a game winning. I'll complain they lost to the Spurs. That's not okay.
Oh, I thought you meant overall. It's like, what do you mean you're giving them a pass?
I was talking Bucks. Anyways, that's all I got. I don't know if there's anything else you want to
talk about. I'll tell you who I gave a pass today. Dude, I was out running, and I'm probably halfway through, and I'm feeling good because been dealing with the left knee soreness. First back-to-back run on a back-to-back day that I've completed in a while.
Al Horford, yes.
Pat myself on the back. I'm running, and this woman is walking her dog, and she has one of those leashes that are like the fishing reels where you can kind of release it and it lets the dog run a little further.
Yeah.
I'm running, whatever. I smile at the lady because she has a dog, whatever. You smile at the dog. The dog runs towards me, and she's not closing the reel. Like the thing's running. Like
big dog,
it's
what
small
kind of
dog. One of those.
rat
I don't know what
dog.
the hell it's called. I don't know. It looks like something. It's I don't know. A little bit bigger than a cat.
Was it a crusty white dog?
No. Like fluffy. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it to you.
Cute dog though?
No.
Okay, rat dog.
No.
Sure.
It runs in front of me. I nearly tripped.
My girlfriend's dad likes to say a puntable dog. Was it a puntable dog?
Yes, very much puntable.
Okay, there you go.
It nearly tripped me mid-stride as I'm having a fantastic run.
Love it.
Which was big for my mental health. I was like, oh man, like, am I going to become washed if I can't run? And then the dog bites me.
What?
Yeah, it bit the back of my leg, little shit. And I kept going because I was having a good run. My parents were pissed. They're like, dude, you gotta ask for the information and stuff. Like, tell them you're gonna call the cops.
Did the woman say anything?
No, she didn't say anything. I had my AirPods in. I was listening to music and I was running. Like, there were a lot of reasons. I don't like breaking stride when I run. And I was halfway through, so I was the farthest away from my house I could be.
Did you scream or anything? Were you like, ah?
No, I just kept going. What did Alpha?
You have like marks? Is there like marks on your
leg?
I
do. I have a Band-Aid, which I'm not happy about. My mom made me put a Band-Aid on. I don't like the Band-Aid because then you got to take the Band-Aid off and you hurt yourself more. Like, it's a whole effort. But I was bit by a dog today, I think for the first time.
You definitely should have gotten the information.
I should have, but I didn't. That be a lesson to all of you. If you see me running, let your dog bite me. I'll do nothing.
Maybe don't do that. Maybe not. But what you can do while running is listening to the How About Them Celtics podcast in the AirPods. There's a plug.
Who wants to do that? Then you jump in front of traffic.
Jeez, come on now. Hey, even I've been getting some exercise in. I've been doing the treadmill every day.
All right. How about that?
I do my 2 miles on the treadmill. I watch my my YouTube.
Do you walk or run?
Hulu. I walk. I'm not a big.
You're getting the same calories. It just takes you longer.
I do around 40 minutes on the treadmill. 2 miles. Right. It's enough for 2 miles. Enough for 2 episodes of Modern Family or YouTube or whatever I'm watching that day.
Modern Family, your show choice.
Yeah, that's the choice right now. Also, Welcome to Wrexham. I just finished Welcome to Wrexham documentary. Very good. Highly recommend. But yeah, Modern Family is the choice right now. I'm enjoying it. I never watched it, and so I like those. I'm a sucker for the what's the word for it? Just those
sitcoms.
Yeah.
Watch Seinfeld. It's fantastic.
I've heard that's a good one too. My dad wants me to watch. My dad wants me to watch How I Met Your Mother.
Never seen How I Met Your Mother
on my list. Heard it's good. Heard it's funny. Anyways, I think that's all we got today. This will drop Monday ahead of the Bulls game that night, and then we'll probably have another show for you. Dropping Wednesday-ish, something like that. Depending on when our recording schedule lines up, but should be good to go. Hyped, the Celtics are back. Even more hyped, they're 3-0. They look good. I'm excited. Defense needs to pick it up, but the offense has been chef's kiss. Great work from the Celtics. Anyways, hope you enjoyed Celtics talk and I guess we talk about coffees and then dogs biting Sam in the leg at the end of the show.
We should have started with the dog. I forgot I had a story.
We should. There you go. We'll bring stories. So you're, getting a little mix of everything on these shows as well. I think we need to be a bit less by the books, a bit more free flowing, but make sure to there you go. Exactly. My buddy started listening to this because he wants to get into the Celtics, so he listens now. Shout out Ian. Thank you for tuning in.
Good for him. Welcome.
Hopefully he'll enjoy the banter before and after. He said you were a nice refresher. He complimented you on your podcasting ability. I'll tell you that. I forget the exact words, but
that I'm different than you.
Kind of. No,
Jack's the one that knows stuff. I'm the one that's kind of funny. Jack's funny too, but that's all I really have.
No. He was just like, Sam's a nice balance. It's a good balance, which is good. We take that. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Check us out on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm sure Sam will plug it as well. How about them? C is posting clips there. But yeah, Sam, I'll let you wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you for Jesus Christ. All right. Thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching,
that back.
I got to. That was bad. If you're watching on YouTube, either on Guy Boston Sports or How About Them Celtics Pod. If you're on either one, make sure you subscribe. The subs on our channel have been jumping up. We're almost at 120. We're not there yet at 119, right?
In there. I'll double check now, but I'm pretty sure 119.
Make sure you leave a like, leave a comment. I always look to read the comments.
120. We hit 120. Let's go.
Look at that. I can be sad about the comments, happy with the subs. Leave a like, subscribe. We enjoy doing this. We enjoy making people laugh, enjoy telling them about the Celtics, whatever it is you listen to us for. We appreciate it. If you're listening make sure you follow us on whatever subscription podcast listening platform, wherever you listen to us on. Follow us, leave a review. I think people do that too. Just so you don't miss anything. And if, you're looking for it on the social media there, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at How About Them C's. Anytime there's anything new, it'll be posted to Twitter. New episodes will be there. Jack and I will retweet them. Instagram and TikTok, as well as YouTube Shorts. We'll have little clips from our show, which tend to do well. People like the clips. Happy about that. Love seeing the views. But make sure you follow us everywhere. You can follow Jack at Jack Simone NBA. He's always working hard, pumping out articles. You can follow me at Sam LaFrance NBA. I'm doing less than Jack. That's our show for today.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.